Google alerts for multiple different things associated with CPOs, and I got a hit yesterday on IONNA with a partnership associated with a company called VML, and I had no idea who they were, so I looked them up. And according to Wikipedia, they have 30,000 employees in 64 markets with principal offices in Kansas City, New York, and London. This is one monster of a marketing organization, and they were engaged in order to help do brand identity with IONNA in the early phases of that project. And let's just look at the press release real quick. This is what it was, announcing that VML was the back-end marketing engine associated with the brand identification of IONNA. And down here they have something called a case study where they go through how their engagement developed the deliverables and what their methodology was behind that. So let's go ahead and get into some of those specifics. This gentleman right here, Ricardo Stamanti, is the Chief Product Officer at IONNA, and he hails from Detroit after working for Stellantis and relocated to Research Triangle Park. I've actually met him on multiple occasions. He's a very approachable person, very obviously highly intelligent, and very driven. The term coined recently, IONNA Speed, I think is in no small measure to Mr. Stamanti's ability to effectively execute the implementation of chargers and many other things. So this whole engagement with VML would have been his partnership. He would have been, as the Chief Product Officer, he would have been the one directly interfacing with these people. The retro feel we're all familiar with now, but if we drill down into it, what VML was trying to do was develop a brand identity in order to help facilitate the goals of the organization. And Mr. Stamanti spells out what those goals are here in this quote. In a world where charging brands skew to either techno cold or parking lot boring, designed for machines instead of the people who drive them, IONNA was created to reintroduce comfort and familiarity back into the open road, to build a modern service station where we'd check your oil for free with a welcoming smile if EVs had oil. And funny side note, I picked up a swag bag at one of the IONNA events, and inside I was greeted with a oil can shaped coffee cup with IONNA embossed on it that said, "Putting the service back into the service station." I thought that was very humorous, and it's a nice coffee cup. It doesn't quite fit into the cup holders of the car, but I keep it at work and actually use it on occasion. From VML, this is a lead brand design at VML. His name is Rob Stigamelski. We wanted to launch IONNA, a charging network that looks to the past experience of service stations that made us smile and earn our trust by wrapping the experience in warmth, hospitality, and thoughtful design, and craft a brand identity with familiar comfort and timeless optimism. Which, now that you see some of the stations that they've built, it really makes sense that the goal of IONNA, in order to bring service stations that are not just designed for the machines, but for the people who are in the cars, to bring that retro feel was very purposeful. What we're trying to do is invoke a timeless comfort and optimism into the brand's identity in order to, as you pull up to a station, you're not only there for the utility of recharging your electric car, but you're also getting a little optimism, a little, a smile comes on your face when you pull into an IONNA station. That happens to me all the time. It's just, not all the time. Anytime I pull into an IONNA station, I kind of get a little gleeful appreciation for what they're doing, that they're treating me as a human being, as a customer to their location. I'm not just trying to see if I can get from point A to point B in an electric vehicle. I'm actually enjoying the trip. And they do a great job of invoking that, they say, wrapping the experience in warmth, hospitality, and thoughtful design. And speaking of thoughtful design, I mean, when you go to these rechargeries, there is such an obvious person practicing at expert level their craft of marketing and introducing design elements into the location, that you feel like you're in good hands. That it's not just randomly put together a hodgepodge. It's a whole experience that they've brought to each one of their different charging stations. It's very obvious. So the first charging stations broke ground in 2024 with plans to scale drastically. So there's a little bit of information about the IONNA project here within the first year, and then Canada later. So we now know that Canada is not coming in the initial year at least, but Canada will be coming later. IONNA is a standout brand in EV charging category, combining functionality with charm and hospitality. Create a scalable network design to connect metropolitan areas and major highways and vacation routes across North America. So that's the mission of IONNA and how the brand identity is aiding to that. And they came up with this logo. And I thought the I was lowercase, so that's how I've always been spelling it. But someone from IONNA reached out to me recently and said, no, it's actually a capital I. And so I've pivoted. But this is the logo that VML came up with for IONNA. And as you can see, it has a bit of a retro feel. And what they're drawing from is this color palette that they've delivered. So when you pull into IONNA station, normally you see the orange, and recently I've seen some blue, and I'll roll some video of a station that I've visited this past weekend at the end of this video, just to give a real-world steel and concrete look at how this actually is executed. But these other colors are a part of it, and obviously the chargers themselves are that green. So when we go back, you can see here the greens. I think the chargers are actually this green. Let's see, yeah. And the very iconic orange that has now been identified with IONNA. And here's some of the logos that they picked up with, again, retro feel. And for people who've been following this project closely, I don't know if anyone else is seeing what I'm seeing, but it's right up here, Blythe, California. And I think that's another Easter egg that we now have confirmation that at least it's on their build list. We don't know really when it's coming, but there it is. And some of the merchandise and swag that will be recommended for being produced and handed out. And I do, as I mentioned, had a swag bag, and there's lots of little curiosities. I got a notebook right here that has the IONNA logo. Putting the service back in the service station is a very common phrase that you see with IONNA. So let's go ahead and roll a video of a station that I actually visited this weekend in Garner, North Carolina, soon to be opening. Thanks for watching. A little bit of progress report. We're here at the IONNA in Garner, North Carolina, off Interstate 40. The construction fencing is down. It looks like the plaza work is all complete. The all-in-one Alpitronic hyperchargers are energized, which must mean that there's a transformer on site. We'll go take a look at that. And things are progressing nicely. I think we're getting pretty close to opening. Let's go walk around and see what's going on. As we can see here, we have energized Alpitronic hyperchargers that don't appear to be commissioned. They're non-responsive to the buttons. We have people working in the convenience stores, a little bit hard to see. And some charging going on. We have someone plugged into a wall outlet because it looks like the chargers, it says not yet, coming real soon. Here's the two CCS handles in the front. There are pull-through over here. Oh, this is interesting what they did. They have a pull-through stall on the left here, but over here are parking blockers to keep from pulling through. I guess because the posts get in the way of the throughway. Looks like what they decided there. So more chargers, beautiful canopy, and it looks like all the painting, there was some wrapping around these lights just last week. In fact, the construction fencing was up, and Cal Connor from Spec stopped by here, and
Definitely has significant progress since then, and that was only a week ago. Got a security camera, characteristic IONNA blue going on, and a 2500 kVA transformer. This is a big boy. Yeah, they've got 5 Alpitronic HYC 400s, which would be what? That would be 2000. And they've got a 2500, so they must have plans for expansion. And over here is the mysterious canopy that we don't know what they're going to use it for, but it's definitely been purposefully redesigned, so I'm sure they've got plans for that yet to be determined. And then over on this side is basically a mirror copy of what was on the other side, which is one pull-through stall, or I guess 2 pull-through stalls, depending on the way you think of it, and then 2 pull-in stalls, both with garbage cans and squeegees. Shouldn't be long now. I'm guessing, I don't know, a couple of weeks at IONNA speed. So stay tuned. We should have an update shortly.